Hello and welcome to Shelley's Sacred Space and our Tarot Tidbits. Today we are looking at the 5 and 6 of Cups. A reminder, we're comparing 4 decks to see the similarities and the differences and get a better understanding of the cards. We are looking at the Coleman Smith Rider-Waite Radiant version, the 5th Spirit Tarot, the Somnia Tarot, and the Green Witch Tarot. So let's get started with the 5. So the 5, of course, represents change and challenges. So this 5 is no different in regards to we're looking at the loss when we could change our perspective and look at the positive. You will see that in this card, there's grief, there's sadness. They're looking at the 3 cups that are turned over and spilt on the ground. If they were to turn around, they would see the 2 cups. That leads to a new path over the bridge and into a homestead. What I find interesting in the Radiant version is he's also surrounded by a halo of light. So that to me indicates that as much as he's in grief, he does have the support of spirit, that we also have to have those moments of grief and allow ourselves that time, but know that we're not alone. Our source, our universe, our power, God, whatever you want to call it, is there supporting you even in these times of despair. All right. In this one, you have a house that literally looks like it is flooding and going to go down a path of sadness. You can see that there's 1 and 2 cups that are overturned and 3 that are not. So this one's a little bit different than this one because this has 3 cups overturned, but this one only has 2. However, the river in here looks insurmountable. So we still have the homestead. We still have the idea of internal personal grief, right? This isn't the sky is falling, Chicken Little, the world is ending. This is personal. This is your heart that's dealing with this sadness, this loss. Okay, and here we have that. It almost feels like that same person in the 4 that was hands bound, blindfold on, and now he's moved to here. So obviously we've tripped over the buckets, we've knocked a couple over, and we've almost given up. But again, he has an umbrella, or she has an umbrella over them. That's that bit of protection from the elements. So as much as you feel alone and you feel at loss and you feel despair, you're not alone. You have that protection of, okay. And then in here, we have the person actually pouring out. And again, we have 1 cup on the ground. They're pouring out that. but there's three over here that are still good. Okay, so opposite of that one again. And we have a hare, and the hare represents um, having a crossroads, cycles, sensitivity, renewal. Hares can be quick. We have berries here, which are blackberry brambles, and they are representative of attachment and grief and healing. So, sorry, in this one too, with her pouring it out, that's her choosing to move past this. So in this card, we've got a little bit more of this has happened, I don't know how to move forward. In this one, we have more of an indication of you're going to be going because the boat's going, so everything else is going to go with that. Like that's the direction you're headed. In here, we have the feeling of despair, but with added protection, which gives you the hope that it's not all for naught. And then this card really talks about the healing aspect of it. So when you get this card in a reading, I like to say there's some struggle. We're having, we may be focusing on all the negative and not seeing any other aspect, and that's by choice. And in order to heal and to get ourselves through it, we have to take control of what aspect we look at. In this one, she's pouring out the water. She's like, you know what? I know I have this feeling. I'm going to feel it to the most and know that it doesn't end there because I got three more cups. So it almost feels like she's shedding that emotion. She's letting it go. She's sending it back where it came from so that she can move forward. So that's the one thing I always point out too, is it's not the most desolate. You need to look at the positive parts of that. You need to look at what you do have. And not necessarily what you do have, but the resources that you have within yourself. You are not those fallen cups. There's more to you than that. There's more depth in your emotions and your feelings. And you don't have to settle for that disappointment. And you don't have to settle for that despair. You have more resources. You can come through that. This card definitely does encourage healing and moving beyond the despair. Now let's look at the 6. So the 6 is the card of nostalgia. It's the safety of childhood. It's the reminiscing of times. It's the joy and the simple life, the things that bring you true pleasure as opposed to purchased pleasure. With our thoughts and emotions, we have the opportunity to go down different avenues. With our 5, we were looking more along the ways of despair. As we move through that, though, we come into the 6, which is all about joy, pleasure, and not the extravagant pleasure, but the simple things in life. A safe home. The flowers is your return on investment. Everything that you've put in comes back out in a beneficial way. We've got the old building behind, which is almost like a homestead. When you were a kid, your home, and I want to be very careful with this because the home is supposed to represent a safe space. Now, it's not for everyone, in which case this card is indicating the dream of, right? Though what it was supposed to be. Okay. We've got the yellow, a lot of yellow in here, which is solar plex energy, which is your willpower. Got a bit of the red, which is the creativity and the fire within. And then you've got the blue communicating that out. But the major color in this card is the yellow, and that is all about your solar plex, your willpower, your self-esteem, your confidence. We are looking at children and innocence and that confidence that comes with the innocent children. Remember when you were a kid and you would just say something, not realizing the consequences of it. That's what this card is about. This card is about going with the flow, feeling safe, being expressive without detriment, without it being a bad thing, right? This is just that wonderful time where you get to express yourself, share yourself with others, lead with your heart, and be safe. Now, in here, we've got different types of cups. So you've got the plant, you've got the bucket with the sand, you've got the garbage pail, you've got a pop, you've got a bug jar. Yeah. Oh, and you have your first tooth with money. So again, reminiscence. This is your thoughts of childhood, the things that you did, the playing in the sand. But it's also about growing beyond that, right? This plant took a long time to grow. It didn't just happen overnight, right? So this is about the seeds being there at the beginning. We also have the garbage can with a rolled up piece of paper. How many times in your life have you written something out and been like, that's not right, crumpled it up and threw it in the garbage can? That's what that is. This is good times, hard times, fun times. The first can of pop that you ever drank when tickled your nose when you drank it, things like that. It's kind of a reminder to go back to your roots. Remember who you are inside. Now, in this one, we have one person pouring into another. So this is the sharing of that, right? And here we have the girl giving the flower to the little girl. This is about not holding it in, about sharing it with others, lifting them up, being compassionate, um, trying to provide them with joys, and that idea of simple pleasures. That's what that card represents, right? They have the well. This is the well from the ace, and they're filling their buckets and then sharing that with others. And in here again, we have a tea party in the meadows with the flowers. We've got the girl holding marjoram flowers, which is happy memories and comfort, and the boy holding a canary, which is companionship and harmony. This is all about that innocent joy, that innocent caring, that special time when you didn't have worries and concerns of the world. Back to the innocence, when you were carefree and loved life. This is a reminder to touch base with that, to go back there and feel that. Now, if you've had not so great childhood, you're not going to have those reminiscent feelings. But this is indicating that you don't have to go back to your childhood. You have to go back to that idea. You have to go back to that feeling. If you've never experienced it, imagine it. Imagine what it would be like to be carefree, to feel safe and secure. If we don't connect with that inside of us, we can't bring that into our life. So on the surface, this looks like a fun, loving card, but deep down, it's about knowing what it feels like to feel safe, knowing what it feels like to be content with what you have, and knowing that everything you do, if it's from this place, will have a return on investment, will provide you with what you need in the future. It, this feeling, this connecting to this feeling helps you grow into your goals. And it's all about knowing yourself and being safe with yourself. Thank you for joining me for the 5 and 6. Our next will be the 7 and 8 of cups. Until then, bye for now.